MyMac Podcast 924. Mac Pro dead? Long live the Mac Pro.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast number 924. And this is going to be, if just based on our conversation before the show even started, an action-packed show, Gaz. Action-packed.
Action-packed.
And, you know, part of the reason for that is there's a lot of speculation that 2023, Gaz, may finally be the year that the M series Mac Pro will be released. And there's also a lot of speculation and a fair bit of whining that it won't be as expandable as some Mac Pros were in the past. Honestly, it probably won't be. How are you today, sir?
I am absolutely spon-rific. Thank you.
Bounce.
Today. Well, if you don't say it, nobody knows.
Well,
so
no, listen. The 3 or 4 people that watch this video,
they wouldn't notice it and they wouldn't comment. So now we've made more of the little jump that happens on the video than probably more information we'll hand out in relation to Apple for the rest of the show. Anyway, earlier today,
good night,
I was
everybody.
Earlier today, I was out on my bike. I haven't been out on the bike for a long time, and it just proved how unfit I am. We did some longer Wolf Wanderings this week, and I was on the Mac. I was on the Mac and Forth show earlier with Carl on Thursday. I think Thursday night, and so I had to boot up my Mac. We had. I don't know if you heard it. Don't listen to it if you've not heard it, Carl.
I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, well, don't listen to it. There's nothing on there that you'd want to know about. Nothing at all.
So there was a conversation about me.
No.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing right now.
No conversation. It wasn't really about you, to be honest with you. It was you don't want to listen to it, and you don't want to listen to it. Yeah. So what have you been doing? What have you been doing?
Guaranteed that I'll listen to it now, Kaz. Well, currently we might
then discuss it next week once you've listened to it.
Okay. Well, there was that tweet that went out that I commented on, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, tweeting's difficult because I've only just got the official Twitter tweet app on my phone because
all that works.
Yeah, precisely. So I had to re-download that and sign into that. So I'll have to start looking again because it's been a bit quiet for me because I've been trying to log in using a non-Twitter app.
It's like,
it don't work.
Nothing's coming up.
Oh, why is Twitter still down?
I should go on Twitter and find out. Yeah, I just use TweetDeck in a browser, and it's like, I don't care. I'm still trying to get Guy Jr. and Peter and their significant others to decide on this relatively inexpensive trip for them to go to New York in April for that play that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, the Peter Pan Goes Wrong play. And it's like pulling teeth, Gaz, as no one wants to set a definitive date. It's like, come on. Dad is springing for most of this. Can we just make a few decisions here, please? So since the time that I wrote this in our show notes, we have tentatively, he said, with great difficulty, set the date. And now we're trying to decide how we're going to get 6 to 7 people up to New York from the Northern Virginia area. That's not going to cost $1,000 billion, but we'll see. And Gaz, I am also very, very, very upset. And it's part of the reason why I'm wearing all this stuff today about the rumors that Tom effing Brady, and I'm being good. I'm being so good. May play or have some kind of role.
I thought you liked him.
For the Miami Dolphins. And I'm telling you right now, if Tom effing Brady takes
That's an unusual
kind of role,
can I say, just interrupt you just for a short second, that is an unusual middle name.
It is. I think it comes from the Norwegian FEOE. So it was anglicized when
he should be playing for the Vikings.
When the family came over to the U.S. Yeah, they showed up at Ellis Island, and it was like, "What's your name?" If we were, it's like, no, we're going to change that to effing. So that's how that works. So Tom effing Brady may have some kind of role for the Miami Dolphins, and I am not happy. I am not happy about that at all. And I'm telling you right now, if that happens, I will drop all support for the Miami Dolphins. And that's been my team since like the early to mid 1970s. I will drop all of my support for that team. I won't wear the hats. I won't wear the jerseys. I won't go to all the trouble that I usually go to try to catch their games on TV.
You're going to lose somebody who's got a hat. I tell you, that's going to be a major inconvenience for the Miami Dolphins if you stop supporting them.
That's right. I won't buy their crap anymore.
Yeah.
I will support the Washington Sentinels of an imaginary football league before I will support, and I'm wearing their gear right now.
Everyone.
Go Falco. Go Falco, Washington Sentinels.
Go Falco.
And if you don't know what that means, look it up.
Right. Have I got to ask the next question?
Okay.
Have I got to ask it?
No.
I won't ask it then. So
what it says is what it says.
Good, because I wasn't sure. We're going to jump straight in then to Gaz's snippets. Right. I just liked this title. And what I'm doing now was one of the major discussion points that I had on the Mac and Forth show. So it's not all about you, Guy.
I disagree.
Apple glasses delay. This particular report says, in my view, there's nothing to see here. Ha! See what they did then? I like that one.
I did.
Seamus from California was rescued from a storm drain thanks to an AirTag dog collar. Seamus is a dog.
Oh, okay. Woof, woof.
Woof, 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 woof. And Wilf asked me to put that story in. I wasn't going to, but Wilf
he doesn't ask for much. Just a walk and a Wilf and a find.
Yeah, and a log. Apple wins as the US appeals court affirms the decision to toss a $308.5 million jury verdict out of the window. US appeals court on Friday affirmed a decision to toss a $308.5 million jury verdict against Apple for allegedly infringing a patent related to digital rights management. Oh, no reaction from Guy. Apple agrees.
I was looking for a sound effect, but I could not find it.
Apple agrees. Well, I don't need you to do sound effects. I'm looking for your input, your intellectual input.
And anytime any of these big jury awards that mean nothing gets thrown out, I am happy about that.
Good. Apple has agreed to audit its to an audit of its labor practices after pressure from investors. Well done, investors. Now, Apple layoffs, Guy. I've heard a couple of stories around this. I wanted to put this in. Apple layoffs have been avoided for 3 reasons, as other tech giants let staff go. Now, I'm not going to go particularly into each of those 3 reasons. Yeah. So Amazon and Google and Facebook/Meta have all been downsizing their workforce. Now, we've been doing a little bit of complaining, I think, over the last few years about, well, why don't Apple just get more staff in to do the bits that they need to do? Well, maybe now we're seeing the reason that they don't just throw money at staff, because getting rid of staff is probably harder than actually gaining staff, especially if you
Yes.
actually want to, especially if you actually want to look after those staff and you want those staff to come back in the future. So, maybe Apple's not so down on their staff. They like to get staff in and keep them for as long as they possibly can.
Well, before you go on, have you seen some of the videos of some of the people, especially on TikTok, that have left like some of these big companies?
No.
Previous videos before their big teary eyes, oh, I've lost my job, blah, 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 for some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but for some of them have consisted of, well, here I am today in Google. I stopped at the commissary and had a delicious spinach omelet, and then I went up to my massage chair, and then I did this, and then I did I went to this meeting, and then I went and I had some snacks and did some yoga. And it's like, when did you do any work? When was any actual work completed? You spent the whole day looking for stuff to eat and getting snacks, and then working out because you're eating all these snacks. And then it's like, oh, and I went to a meeting. It's like, and then you have the audacity to act surprised when they've determined that, maybe we don't need this person as much as we thought we did. Okay. Don't live your life on TikTok.
Now, folks, we're not saying that happens to all of those staff that are being made.
Not at all.
But,
not at all.
That's just Guy's view, which is why I like him to react when I read these stories off. Okay, do you remember the current C situation that was raised?
Yes.
Where, yes. Well, apparently some big banks haven't learned from that current C, let me call it debacle, as they plan a new competition for Apple Pay. 7 big banks are creating a mobile wallet app designed to compete with Apple Pay and probably Google Pay or whatever it is as well.
Samsung Pay and
yeah, let's see how that works for them.
Here's the thing. You can bet that all those banks aren't involved with Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Walmart Pay, or any of these, or Google Pay, or any of these other pays.
Well, three of the big ones are Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo.
Well, I actually have a card with Bank of America, and I put that card in wallet so I can use it digitally. So why would I need Bank of America Pay or whatever the hell they call it?
Yeah.
Why would I need it?
You don't.
Yeah.
Guy, Tim Cook didn't sell any of his Apple stock in 2022.
And he made certain sacrifices. It was mac and cheese 3 nights a week.
I think he didn't go to the gym because he phased out on his membership and he went running instead.
Just couldn't afford it.
Apple has ramped up its lobbying spending in 2022 by an increase of 44% over 2021. So Apple is starting to become the lobbying company because they never used to be much in the way of lobbying, but they apparently are.
All these big companies should not be doing that, but
I'm not going to disagree with you, but it's a political status which we will not go down. Porsche expands CarPlay to more classic cars, Guy, with a new retrofit head unit. Porsche is a strong supporter of, particularly in regards to helping owners of retrofit CarPlay in classic Porsche cars. As part of those efforts, Porsche has expanded support for retrofitted Bluetooth and CarPlay infotainment systems to early 2000 cars. Pretty
early 2000.
If I had
needed for my 1957 Boxer.
I'm not sure that Boxers were made in 57, but I'll play along. I'll play along with you.
Throwing it out there, guys.
iOS 16.3 and macOS Ventura 13.2 have added hardware security key support, which is really good moving forward. They'll probably have a piece on that as we move forward because hardware key support and your security is something which is still on Apple's agenda. Apparently last week, Guy, we had a big 60th joint birthday party on, although I was 60 back in December. Guess who turned 40 last week?
It wasn't me.
The Lisa.
Oh, you're talking about his daughter or the original Lisa computer?
I think I'm talking about the computer guy.
Okay.
This is an Apple show, remember? Yeah.
Yeah. My brother-in-law actually had one. He had a Lisa. That was like the first Apple computer that I'd ever seen. I'll shut up.
Good. Apple has enlisted Ted Lasso star. And we had this conversation actually on the Mac and Forth show.
You can't say his name, can you?
No, it's not that. It's just the headline doesn't make any sense. Anyway, in honor of Data Privacy Day, Apple had announced a handful of new resources designed to help users take control of their data. And the Ted Lasso star Nick Mohammed was in an advert, which I watched, and it was mildly amusing, quite funny. I
like him
as
even though he became kind of a villain at the end.
He was evil.
Yeah, that was like an abrupt. I mean, this isn't the Ted Lasso show, but that was like an abrupt change for that character. Even though you could, if you watched the entire season, you could kind of see
it coming,
the genesis of it.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't see it coming, but as you said, well put, guy. Well put. Yeah. That's why I want you to react naturally to these headlines.
Even if I can't find whatever it is I'm looking for over here.
Apple gives some older iPhones OS updates going back to iPhone, wait for it, 5S.
Yep.
Good Amazing. Old Apple.
This is why, see, and this is what a lot of Android people don't understand is, yes, we pay more generally for our phones, but at the same time we can use them generally longer than you can because we generally get updates for those phones that you don't.
Nah.
See, that was actually the sound effect I was looking for earlier, but okay.
Right, okay, but it'll do for then. Fortnite on iOS will no longer let players spend their V-Bucks as the game is now outdated. We'll move on quickly from that. I don't want any response from you. Perfectly good MacBooks from 2020 are being sold for scrap because of an activation lock. 2-year-old MacBooks with an Apple T2 security chip are being turned into parts because recyclers have no way to log in and factory reset the machines, reports Motherboard. That must be a magazine. It's a boon for security and privacy and a plague for the second-hand market. That is not good, actually. That is not.
No, and honestly, this isn't Apple's fault. This is. I mean, they put these security measures in so that if someone steals your computer, it can be rendered completely useless. So if you're buying computers off the secondhand market, you really need to do your due diligence to make sure that whoever you're getting it from has wiped that machine to make it available to be resold.
That's different to this, though, Guy. That's totally different to this because they're perfectly good MacBooks, but because that due diligence isn't being done by these, even the owners of the MacBook, when they're forwarding it on or selling it, then they're becoming, scrap products where they should be lasting until 2030.
Easy. They should. And a lot of these machines as well. I mean, we've been hearing about these mass thefts from Apple stores where, 6 or 7 guys just run in and grab everything off the counters. Those machines are crippled. So sure, you could probably go ahead and sell it as new, but whoever you sell it to isn't going to be able to use it. And so you see all these sales on eBay saying, it's a locked machine, that it's basically just for parts. And it's like, okay. Don't buy machines like that.
What a waste.
It's too bad.
I think this next story may hint that the Mac Studio is still going to be around because Apple last week began selling a Kensington locking kit for the Mac Studio with everything you need to secure the computer to a desk or other surface, Guy. So I don't think that the Mac Studio is going to be rendered dead by the M2 Mac Mini.
No, why would it? They'll just come up with an M2.
You could have said something better than
Studio.
that. I mean, you said, right on, Gaz. But no, why would it?
Oh, wait, hold on. Right on, Gaz.
Thanks. Apple support website
Power
gets
to the
a...
people.
Will you let me finish?
Yes.
Apple support website gets a much needed facelift with new design. I haven't gone over and had a look at it myself, but I'm sure it's spawnific.
I am just so impressed with that website that I haven't looked at yet. Apple
adjusts trade-in values for iPhones, Macs, and much more. So let me just have a look down here.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to take a guess here. It probably went...
Yeah, iPhone trade-in values have decreased by up to $80. Most Android smartphones also went down. Mac trade-in values remained unchanged. Yeah, right.
Let's state the blazingly obvious there.
Yeah, Mac trade-in values remained unchanged or increased by up to $40, depending on the model, Guy. So, Apple has dropped the COVID-19 test requirement. Great. About time.
For what?
Well, they just dropped it. They've not picked it up again yet, but they may well do.
They're just kind of kicking it around on the floor. Someone picked that up. I'm not picking that up.
Apparently, there was a pesky CarPlay bug. I think we might have mentioned that a few weeks ago, which has now been fixed in iOS 16.3. So the security key support. I'm just trying to read through here. Oh, it just says, this is great. The update also included a handful of bug fixes and improvements, including a fix for a pesky CarPlay bug. Doesn't tell me what that pesky CarPlay bug was, but it's fixed it. So if you had that pesky, because I think that was the actual name of it, to be honest with you, it was called pesky CarPlay bug. That was the official name. Well, it's
good.
Fixed.
That's exactly what it should have been.
Apple fellow, because he's a fellow, Phil Schiller.
Guy Kawasaki, I'm guessing.
No, Phil Schiller.
Oh.
Has confirmed he's now on Mastodon after deleting his Twitter account. So I went on to Mastodon, I found him, and I followed him. He's not responded to me yet, though.
What?
Flipping ass. What?
Yeah. Well, you
and followed me back. I mean, come on, Phil.
On Twitter and tell him you need to respond to me on Mastodon.
Yeah. Come on, Phil. Pull your finger out.
On Twitter.
Yeah. Pull your finger out.
Yeah. See?
2022 iPhone shipments fell 14.9% in the holiday quarter, but all other brands did even worse. So the headline here, Apple's iPhone has dropped sales. Oh, yeah, but everybody else has done even worse. That's not the headline. The headline should read, Apple's fall in shipments, not as bad as other companies, but oh no.
Or either that, or smartphone shipments have dropped, whatever the average is across the board instead of just, but Apple is they say Apple because that's what draws
that's what
people to look at the stories.
That's what draws in the clicks. Well, I've done it here, but I didn't click on it. I didn't click on it, Carl. You'll get this.
You clicker.
Yeah, no, I didn't click on it. Carl.
No, I'm talking about Carl. Carl the clicker.
Yeah.
Carl Clicker Madden. That's what we call him. Just like Tom effing Brady.
Will you let me finish?
Clicker was the family name.
This is relates to something. Oh no, I've got to stop him laughing now. This relates to something you did mention earlier. Mac Pro enthusiasts raised concerns over the upgrade limitations of Apple Silicon, especially on that Mac Pro. Yes.
That doesn't exist yet.
That doesn't exist yet. This comes from
.com.
Development on Apple designed Wi-Fi chip has been paused for a while. Apple has paused. Apple. It's because
Oh,
they haven't got enough people working for them. That's what it
no,
says. Oh,
because
I'm not going to
they're
go. I'm
not
not going to
making
go into it.
anything that's as good as what's already out there.
Correct. And they can't for some reason, so they're paused. They're taking a step back, Guy, to
And
reassess their situation.
I was on the In Touch with iOS show that David Ginsburg does.
Yeah.
And we talked about this. And as it turns out, for people who don't know, Apple bought that entire division and process from Intel because Intel couldn't do anything that was better than what was already out there. And then when Apple tried to implement some of that stuff, they got sued by Qualcomm and what's the other company that makes the modem shit? Well, regardless, they got sued and they lost. So after a while, it's kind of like, well, let's see. The stuff we're putting in our computers that we made ourselves isn't as good, and every time we try, we get sued. So big surprise.
Apple's Safari web browser has some filters to prevent users from accessing malicious websites, referred to as the fraudulent website warning in the United States and other countries. This warning is powered by the Google Safe Browsing service. However, in China, these filters are managed by Tencent, a Chinese company. Duh. In addition to Google Safe Browsing, now Apple is expanding its use of Tencent Safe Browsing for websites from China to users in Hong Kong for the first time. I have a feeling the people in Hong Kong will not be pleased with that.
Well, what the story doesn't say is that Apple was probably forced to do this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
By the Chinese government.
Absolutely.
And again, when you operate in other countries, for people who are upset by something like this here in the US or there in the UK,
but
Apple
no,
has to follow
you're missing my
those
point,
rules.
though. Yeah, but you're missing my point. They're doing it for Hong Kong, which has a little bit of self-rule.
No, they don't.
Used to have a bit of self-rule.
Used to have a little bit of self-rule.
But that's now gone. So they're going to be very unhappy. So look for the flags waving saying...
Yeah,
they'll just be crying. They'll just
you
be
bad
tears.
Apple people. It's like,
well,
it's
no. They know it's not Apple. Apple's headset will reportedly let customers create AR apps via Siri.
Yeah, sure it will.
Apple's iPhone dominated China last quarter, despite the COVID lockdown disruptions. Apple's iPhone in China took its biggest quarterly smartphone market share, despite the CCP's quick, toxic, zero COVID lockdowns and weakening global economy. So they just keep going from strength to strength. Now, this is something in fact, I'm going to go back to that story. That's going to be my last story. I'm going to come back to that one. Going to keep you in suspenders. Apple's iPhone emergency SOS via satellite saves 2 women stranded in British Columbia. The only reason I brought that out is because it was the Apple's iPhone emergency SOS and the word British. End of story. iPhone 14's emergency SOS via satellite feature has been touted as a game changer by search and rescue teams. Cool. Apple stock has climbed ahead of the earnings report. Well, that is a little bit of surprise. It's normally fairly stable, but it's climbed. But you watch the selling afterwards, where people make their money.
Yeah,
all of those analysts that you like. App Store prices are increasing in the UK and other countries on February 13th. So App Store prices are going up in the United Kingdom and several other countries starting on February 13th. Apple has announced late last week. The changes are being implemented due to shifts in taxes and foreign exchange rates.
Yeah, it's more foreign exchange rates than I think taxes. But okay.
Apple have been sued for promising privacy and failing at it.
Is this the one you were waiting on?
No, it's not.
Okay.
This
is just as good, though, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, my last one. Let's go for the last one. Let's go on a bit of an upbeat one.
Well, was that the only story? Was that the whole thing about that story?
Well, it says Apple has again been sued for promising privacy and allegedly failing. Did you want me to read a little bit more on it? Okay.
Yeah, because
what's the complaint? has been filed in Northern California District Court on behalf of the plaintiff. Shall I say her name? Julie Seamer has claimed that Apple captures iPhone customer data despite device settings declaring a preference that information should not be shared. And then it's a whole bit. So the legal filing cites research published last November by a two-person firm developer team called MISC. Well, we know about that because we did that story. So this person is obviously now putting in a claim against in a California district court.
And the weird thing was she just got laid off by Google. So, you know.
Using an iPhone.
Right. Let's go a bit more upbeat for you then.
All
you
right,
like surfing. You like surfing, don't you, Guy?
I am very bad at it, but yes.
Well, have you ever looked at the World Surf League website?
No, I have not.
Well, the World Surf League has now adopted the Apple Watch as the official wearable. The World Surf League, WSL, has today named, that's last week, the Apple Watch as its official wearable, with the device set to be used as an official competitor equipment in sports environment for the first time. During the 2023 Championship Tour, WSL athletes will use the WSL Surfer app on the App Watch Series 8 and the App Watch Ultra to get updates while they're surfing in the competition. So get your update to that app now, Guy.
You know, here's the thing, Gaz. During the entire surfing competition, you will suddenly see ambulances appearing from all over the place because each time one of these guys fall off their board, their watch is going to be like, "We've detected that you've fallen. Would you like us to contact emergency services?" And they'll be too busy fighting for their lives in the waves to say, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine."
That,
oh my God.
I knew you'd like that story. That's why I left it last. That, folks, is the end of Gaz's snippets.
Okay. Good. Some good stuff in there. You know, and when I haven't done it in a while, but there's a reason when I kind of break down the show into individual little bits, that Gaz's snippets is one of those bits. Because it's just so good. It deserves its own. This could almost be its own podcast. Seriously, it really, really could.
I'm saying nothing. Wait till you've listened to the Mac and Paul show first.
But you know,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
And it's not just you delivering the snippets.
No,
it's
not at
also
all. The interaction.
My reaction to the snippets.
Carl.
And it wouldn't work with any other people, but it works with you and me. And I love the snippets, which is why it has lasted as long as it has, because it's just so much fun.
Right.
Okay.
Shall I ask a question, Guy?
Ask the question, Gaz.
Who wants a Mac Pro?
Well, as it turns out, likely not that many people, Gaz. The bigger problem, or the bigger question, should be, will it be expandable in ways that the current M series Macs are not? And if we kind of look at it, you know, what's it going to look like? And in my mind, it's going to look probably more like the current Mac Studio than the Intel-based Mac Pro that Apple offers right now. And a lot will depend.
Do you think there's a redesign on it then? Yeah, redesign?
I think there is. I think there will be.
Okay.
Because, you know, the thing about the Intel Mac Pros, you've got PCIe slots, you've got slots for, you know, external drives, you've got RAM slots, you've got all the stuff that, and I'll use this word, that, you know, the benefits of using the Intel platform, the x86 platform versus the M series platform. And really the only benefit in my mind is its expandability, because there really isn't anything else there. They're not as fast. But what the M series Mac Pro is going to look like will probably depend on whether or not Apple adds some expandability And will they make that effort to allow for user upgradable RAM, internal storage, or GPUs? Apple has invested a lot of engineering time and money to make the M1 and now the M2 family of microprocessors. And for people who don't, and we're going to break this down as simply as we possibly can because we're simple people.
Oh,
These are SoC based or system on a chip incorporating the CPU, the GPU, RAM, and storage all on a single die. And would the relatively small Mac Pro market be worth breaking out one or more of those for users to configure for themselves? What do you think about that?
Absolutely not. I completely agree with you that there's going to be no reason for them to do that for that relatively small market. Now, having said that, boy, did they get a lot of hassle when we had that period where they weren't doing anything with the Mac Pro, and they got a lot of hit on it. Now, that may have been because they really couldn't bring the Mac Mini in any kind of form to actually be close to what the Mac Pro users would be expecting. But now with the M series chips, maybe the Mac Studio is the one that they could say, well, hang on a minute, we'll expand its ports for you. We'll expand this so you can now run, machinery which is separate, a little bit like the Ashtray Mac Pro. Remember that? What they said about that was, just link everything up to it and you can make it modular, externally modular.
Including GPU.
Yeah. So I'm wondering whether, certainly with USB-C and Thunderbolt connections now, whether they might think down that avenue. But, they have specifically called the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio rather than the Mac Pro. Now, whether they expand that Mac Mini range to have a Mac Mini, or Mac Studio, and then a Mac Pro, which is an even bigger square version, I don't know. But I agree with you. It's kind of, they're not going to break out that current manufacturing process for the M series chips.
To the best of my knowledge, I'm not sure that they even could. Now,
no, well,
other than the cost for the user, since Apple seems to operate at about a 200% bump for each upwardly mobile tier, would the costs in performance outweigh the cost to users to go from, say, 32 gigs of RAM to 128 or 256? And you have to remember, and we just kind of alluded to this, that part of what makes these chips so fast is the integration that many users seem to be upset about. And it's the very thing that boosts its performance as an ARM chip versus the Intel CISC chips, which is, it's two completely different architectures.
Yeah.
Now, breaking out the GPU might even be worse, might actually make performance worse. Perhaps, maybe Apple could add a slot for an additional GPU to enhance graphics performance. But now with that additional trip outside of the system on a chip, the M series architecture, would that be at the cost of efficiency? And storage is potentially another issue. You can easily add more external USB-C or Thunderbolt storage, and they could possibly make those internal depending on how a Mac Pro case would be configured, but it's not going to be as fast as what's built into, integrated with Apple's CPU. If I had to guess what the Mac Pro coming up, assuming that it is, will be like, I would say that it would look more like the Mac Studio internally. They might add, there may be like some special kind of like what they did with the upper tiered Mac Studio, where they had the Mac One Ultra. So this would be the M2 Ultra Pro Max whiz bang, and maybe a slot or two to cram in a few more storage. like with the M2 or the M1 Ultra, they basically fused two M1 Pros. Is it Pros?
I think so, yes.
No, two M1 Max. Two M1 Max.
What, to make it the Ultra?
To make it the Ultra.
Yeah.
So if they could figure out a process to fuse 4 M2 Ultras whenever those come out, or whatever they're going to call that series of chips, fuse those together and make 4 instead of just the 2 that the current Mac Studio has with the M1. And no matter what course Apple takes with any future Mac Pro, you can bet there will be a bunch of people complaining bitterly that they can't add additional Wacom tablets internally or a dial-up modem for emergency use. So, yeah.
Well, I know. I think definitely that Steve would say,
"You betcha."
Yeah, yeah. There probably will be a Mac Pro. It's not going to be the machine that the current complainers about the M series Macs want, because I don't think Apple can produce a machine like that. And even if they could, would it make sense financially for them to do so?
Yeah, why
and I
would
don't
they?
Think so.
Would they want to? And I don't think they would. So I agree with you.
Yeah, when you can say, I mean, because you're on an M1 Mac Mini.
Yep.
As am I. This is the fastest Mac, bar none, that I have ever owned. It flies through all the stuff I ask it to do in CapCut and DaVinci and Hindenburg. You know, I mean, when you think about the processes that I have running just to record this show,
Yeah. Although
my 2017 iMac that
we know that, and we know
that,
and we know that it can do all the video. We know it can do all the sound. We've seen that. However, Guy, we did find out that when it has to deal with hundreds of thousands of lines in terms of a spreadsheet, it can slow down. So there are limitations to the processing power and the way they've written the code to be able to do with certain efficiencies. Now, nobody needs a Mac Mini M1 to they don't need that power, because it's very few people that are dealing with that many lines in a spreadsheet,
Excel or whatever, right?
Yeah, you'd normally be using a database when you start getting up to that numbers, but you do have the occasion, and it struggled. It really did struggle. Now that may be a tweak, because it is the M1, so it was their first iteration, and you know that they're going to be concentrating on video and sound and all the rest of it, photography. So I'm not that surprised, but there are deficiencies that still need to be sorted out, but I'm not really, those complainers can complain all they like, to be honest with you.
And they will, no matter what Apple does. But
I must admit, I was quite surprised that it struggled with it, but there you go.
Well, these are also machines that have either 8 or 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So I would be interested to see, did they have those same struggles with, like, say, a base Mac Studio with 32 or 64 gigs of RAM, where there was a lot more swap available to do some of those things. And I bet having more RAM internally helped those processes. So Possibly. If you get a Mac Studio that has 64, and I think you can go up to 128 gigs of RAM in one of those, with a M1 Ultra, with 128 gigs of RAM and 2 to 4 terabytes of storage internally, that is going to meet the needs of probably most of the people that want a Mac Pro. Maybe not you individually, Mr. I need, lots of storage and lots of RAM and an internal 56K modem. Maybe it won't do that for you, but for most of your colleagues, it'll do just fine. Yeah. And the same thing with whatever the M2, or maybe they'll call it an M3. I don't know, just to differentiate it from the other Macs.
Well, I think I do wonder whether the M3 is going to be a bit of a bigger jump from, because this M2 is going to be pulling all of those people that were on Intel and thought, look, we really can't afford to go to a new infrastructure, a new system at this stage. But actually now it's proven itself completely. So
Very much
let's
so.
go for it. So the M2 is going to pull a lot of Intel people over, and then the M3 I think is going to be an even bigger leap forward than
well, whatever they
than
call
the
whatever,
M2
and
was.
this wasn't
Comparative.
part of our conversation, but whatever Apple calls the next version of what is currently the M series of chips will likely have to be a bigger jump, because a lot of the people that are currently on M1s, you and I included, and almost every single person that I've talked to about this, the M2s came out and they were like, yeah, okay, it's 15 to 20% faster than what I'm currently capable of with the M1, but I don't need it because I can't max out what I'm currently
if
doing.
you remember, one of the early conversations was that I think I said Apple are either going to hit this M1 out of the park, or it's going to be a complete flop. It's not going to quite reach the expectations that people will have of it in comparison to the Intel. And we both jumped in because we both thought they're going to hit this out of the park and it's going to be solid. And I think that's what they've done. So they've almost caused a bit of a problem for themselves, but I'm sure that their plan and their timeline for improvements is well thought out. They don't think 2-3 years ahead. They think 5, 10, 15 years ahead. Apple do now.
And I've told people that are still on Intel Macs, it's like, look, if you're looking to jump to a new machine, and, you know, if you can afford to get a new M2, great. However, you'll be just as happy and save yourself a little cash with an M1 Mac Mini or an M1 MacBook Pro of whatever size it is that you want. These are fantastic machines, and you're going to see an immediate speed bump from what you're currently using with Intel.
But if you're on a Mac Pro,
if you're on a Mac Pro, then
we'll see.
But, you know, if you need a machine right now, they still sell the Intel Mac Pro, if that's what you want. But quite honestly, I would go ahead and go to an M1 Mac Studio Ultra or whatever they call that higher level Mac Studio.
Absolutely.
You know what? Unless I am missing my guess because I'm not quite ready yet. Now I am. You are nodding the hell out of your head.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
For people who watch the video, you just saw the Gaz's tips dance. Amazing.
Option plus click on the notification center turns on do not disturb. Bingo, wallop, hits it out the park. Press the option key while pressing one of the sound, brightness, function keys, or, you know, it's like you can do the sound or the brightness, and it takes you straight to the preferences for that control. Oh, hey. This next one, these are all Mac tips, by the way, if you didn't guess.
I almost hit the theme song because you started to do a head nod. So
no. Yeah.
Careful.
And I like this one, Guy. I have a file that is a kind of a template, right? So it's a pages file, but this can be done on other types of files as well. I haven't tested lots, but I've tested it on my pages file. And it's a kind of template, but it's not fully, right? I do like to reuse it and adjust it for new docs. Well, I always forget to duplicate it. So that means I'm then saving that as the new document, which I wanted to keep originally anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you hit info for that file and make sure that you check the stationary pad box. So if you click, let me do it now. So when you go onto a file and you go get info, you will see the get info window come up, and it says at the top
in the Finder. You're doing that in the Finder.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not in the Finder. Yeah, I've right clicked on the file, and I've clicked get info, or I think you can go Command I when you're highlighted a file. And what you can then do is under the general information, if that's not toggled down, toggle the general information down, and in there you'll see something that says locked, and above locked it says stationary pad. Well, if you click and check that stationary pad option, whenever you then double click on that particular file, it will automatically open it as a copy. And I like that because then I can quickly make the adjustments to the copied file. It's already duplicated it for me.
Wait,
Hey,
how do you do that
voila.
again? I've got our show notes.
Okay. So
I went into the Finder, found our show notes, did get info for that file.
Right. Now, so in Get Info,
Mhm.
at the top, you should see General.
Yes.
Under General, you should see Stationary Pad and Locked.
Oh, no, it's not.
Well,
that's
what?
Maybe because we've made so many changes to it over the years.
Well, it may also be because this is on iCloud, but if this is a local document, because I've tested this now on an Excel sheet, a Pages sheet, you get Stationary Pad. Click on Stationary Pad, and whenever you do a new document, that will actually open it up as a copy.
Okay. Yeah, I opened up a different document and that was available there. I think the reason why I wouldn't do it for our show notes document is that we've been using this document.
Well, it's also shared.
For years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that.
No, it's also shared. So it might not do it if you've got it on a shared file. And I really like that because for me, that's just bingo because I'm always forgetting to duplicate the file.
Yeah. Oh, now your head nodding.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
How ridiculous are we? Couple of 60-year-old guys trying to imitate Freddie Mercury. It is just so very, very wrong.
It's like a teenage rampage.
It is. And we are so far past our teens, we couldn't even see it in a rear view freaking mirror at this point. A couple of real quick links. As usual, there'll be links to the timeout.com links list for helpful Ukrainian donation sites, including such worthy websites as the Ukrainian Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders, which goes across the board, not just for the Ukraine. That's always a good place to go if you have a few little extra dollars that you want to give away to charity. I don't think either one of us has any for pick's sake.
Nope.
One other thing real quick, and someone's going to get one. Someone's going to get one this week. If you have done, well, not for this, but if you've done an iTunes review and we speak about it on the show, you need to let us know about that review. And we will talk about that review on the show, and you will get something that is just so wonderful. It's called a Woo Tea. And for people who don't know what a Woo Tea is, that is a big W, big O, big T, little I, little E, exclamation point. That spells Woody, and that is exactly what it is.
That's really clear.
It is. And if you want to know what a Woody is, follow the rules and you'll get one too. We have some feedback. Audio feedback this week.
Steps back in amazement.
Some amazing audio feedback. And normally it's like, okay, well, we've got this one thing. It's like, no, we have four. We have 4 audio feedbacks this week. 3 from one person. 3 from one person.
It counts.
It does count. And the person who did this did it on 3 different platforms. And we'll get into that in a minute. But let's just go ahead and hit it. And here is the first one. Come on.
There we go. This is Marcus in Minnesota. I'm calling the Skype number for
Skype number.
It's the first time in several years. If you're going to retire it, then I'm glad I used it before it went away bye-bye. It's 703-436-9501.
It is.
And I wanted to make it relevant to Macs, so check your old Macs, and if you don't have any updates, then you're good. That means you've got an old system. I will be calling back on a different number. I have a plan.
I have a cunning plan.
I have a cunning plan. Okay, here is his next one. You ready? And now you heard the audio quality for that, right?
Yep.
Pay attention to the audio quality for this. And this kind of blew me away.
Okay, this is Marcus in Minnesota. I'm recording from my Apple Watch Ultra. I'm going to email that in and it'll get played on the show. Hopefully, the third message, fourth call, fourth attempt. I did actually talk to Guy, which is funny. So the Watch OS is 9.3, I believe. I just looked at it not even a few seconds ago. iOS
right.
is 16.3.
Sounds right.
And for the Mac, if you've got, I guess I don't have Ventura, but Monterey is updated 12.6.3. And again, I didn't find any updates for the HomePod, either the original or the minis. So I don't know if those have a silent update or if I updated my infrastructure a couple weeks ago. But either way, it's snowing a little teeny bit, but it's cold. It was 10 this morning. I had to get a battery charger and put it on my vehicle in southeastern Minnesota to get it started, go to work. And I'm at home now working from home because I had to go to Good Sense and buy a 16-inch sub and get an 8-inch one for free. So I figured I'd use the different contact mechanisms and we'll have a large feedback section in the next program.
Yeah.
All right. This is Marcus. Goodbye.
Thank you, Marcus.
Marcus, Mac OS
How was the
Ventura.
sandwich?
No. Mac OS Ventura 13.2. I'm glad you got a nice club. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. It sounded like a
thank
delicious
you.
sandwich. You went out in 10-degree Fahrenheit weather to get a sub. That better be a damn good sandwich. That's all I can say. Because I would walk out that door and go, nah.
No.
Hey, you know what? I got Cocoa Pops, so I'm going to eat Cocoa Pops instead. All right, and here's the third one.
Oh, goodness. This is Marcus from Minnesota calling in call number 3 because call number 2 to the new Google Voice number 703-828-4677 was actually answered by Guy Squirrely Searle.
Yes.
And I had a nice conversation with him after I told him what I was doing and had a short discussion. But it's Monday, the 23rd, and when I was going to call, it was 3:33 and almost 33 seconds p.m.
With sandwich or without sandwich?
And I wanted to say, if you've got newer machines, check your software update, and you should have an update. I think it is 16.2. No. macOS 12.6.3, iOS 16.2.3 or something like that, and Apple Watch OS. I did look for update for my HomePods, and I didn't find any. I've got 2 standard HomePods, 2 white standard HomePods, and 3 mini white HomePods, and neither of them showed an update, but they were supposed to have the humidity and temperature sensors enabled with this update, but I haven't seen anything yet. I'm calling in from my phone and using the Google Voice number to try and be the first one, even though it's been available for 2 weeks. But now I'm going to record from my Apple Watch and send that in through email so you can kind of get an idea of the quality differences in the different ways to get a hold. All right, bye.
Wow.
Okay. The stark difference between the microphone using VoIP apps on your phone and recording it separately on your watch and then just like emailing it in. I was blown away, which is why I kind of pointed that out. I think,
absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think there must be a lot of compression going on there for, Skype and Google Voice.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, just that the microphone sounded so good.
That was incredible.
Watch.
I was
Yeah,
really
it
impressed.
sounded amazing.
I don't think you need a new microphone, Guy. You just use your Apple Watch from now on.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
Okay, have we got another call?
We do. We have one more call, and here it is.
Hi, Guy and Gaz. It's Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Over in Minnesota.
Oh,
I was
Minnesota's
looking for you guys
all
on
over this.
Mastodon, but just putting in your usernames on Mastodon wasn't working. I think you have to have the name as well, or the @ part of whatever server you're on. Like, for instance, I would be TomDar2 at mas.to. So if you guys add that to what you're saying, when you're saying, hey, you can find us on Mastodon at MacParrot and Gazmaz, I think that'll help people find you, because I did a search and I didn't find either one of you, which
Oh, that's
kind
weird.
of lends credence to Mastodon search maybe not being all that fantastic across different servers. But love the show, of course, as always. Might see you guys at MacStock this summer if you come, maybe. Later. Bye.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, it's Tom. And that is weird, because I've searched for a few people by their name and I've found them. So I think he might be right.
I
It
searched
might
for
be-
you that way on
Yeah,
Mastodon,
well, I did.
and
too,
I
and
found you.
I've done a couple of others just by the nicknames that I know of them and found them. So I think he might be right. It's the vagaries of search within those particular applications. So, but I will add that, not this week, because I can't this week because my phone's videoing me and I can't pick it up.
It's
Find out what
it's right
I'm
there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pointing at it, folks, for those who are not watching the video. So I'll probably do that next week. So bear with us if you want to go onto Mastodon or social counter social. So yeah, on Mastodon or counter social.
Yes. And Marcus, you are going to get a specially handcrafted Woo tea for being the first person to call our Google Voice number.
So he beat Marcus, did he? He beat Marcus, did he?
No. Or not Tom. Did I say Tom? I meant Marcus. Marcus.
You
is
meant,
gonna be a
you did
special
say,
word.
yeah. So it was Marcus. Well done, Marcus.
So Marcus was the first one to use our Google Voice number, which is 703-828-4677. So that Woody is now gone. It will be a specially created and crafted Woody just for Marcus for that reason alone. But that doesn't mean that you can't get one too.
No.
And if you really want to get in our good graces, you can go to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/MacParrot. Yes, I want you to bribe me to get a Woody. You can also buy us a coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal. Pay those pals at paypal.me/MacParrot. There we go. Now, Cass, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, why does Marcus deserve a special Woody and I don't? How would they do so?
Send an email asking that very question to Gaz, G-A-Z, at mymac.com, or on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, G-A-Z-M-A-Z. Or you might have to do a really big search or wait for a week till you can find me on the Counter Social or Mastodon. But my username is Gazmaz, but I'll put the extra bits in next week. You can also send a tweet on the Twitters to Guy and Gaz. That's GUYANDGAZ on
Cars.
Twitters.
Well, your audio just went way down.
It did go down, and it looks like the master volume and Farrago went down. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm going to stop that there because you can also send an email to feedback at mymac.com, FWDBACK at
mymac.com.
Yes. Now, Guy, you know that
Your guy, your guy, it's you. Yeah, I love you.
You know that, don't you? And you also know.
I think Guy's like a symbol.
Yeah.
Madness.
Guy, I need you to listen to me.
Well, that happens a lot. That happens a lot.
Wait, you let who kiss you?
Guy.
Are you letting people kiss you, or are you kissing people, Guy? 'Cause
Sure.
that's what that sounded like. Yeah.
Better than that guy.
Yeah, definitely. Because
Any guy.
any guy. Yeah, just incredible.
Who are you really?
Guy.
Who are you really, Guy? Yeah,
Guy.
That's true. Yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah, definitely. I think not, because
His name was Guy.
Guy.
Guy?
You remember Guy? Guy's the one.
Guy says, no fooling.
if you
No.
want,
An email from Guy.
how would they do it, Guy?
It's exhausting, Gaz. It is so exhausting sometimes waiting for that last little bit because I know it's coming. I just don't know when. You can send that to Guy at mymac.com.
Who'd have guessed it? Who'd have guessed
who
it?
would have known? Who would have known? And if you don't watch the video, you miss all these special little nuances that we do on camera. Not that I'm pushing the video or anything. Yeah. Guy at mymac.com. You can also reach me over on the Twitters, either Mac Parrot or Vert Shark. That's over there on the Twitters. You can also find me over at the Counter Socials and Mastodon as Mac Parrot. And I don't know if that's at Mac Parrot or just regular Mac Parrot. Yeah, don't know. We have a Skype number, Gaz. We do. Marcus knows that
how
Skype
much
number.
longer? But for how
Not
much
even.
longer?
Don't even know until they want me to pay for it again. And that Skype telephone number is 1 or +1 outside of the United States 703-436-9501. That number, Gaz, is 1 or +1 outside of the United States 703-436-9501. Or like Marcus, be one of the cool kids and dial our Google Voice number because that's the epitome of cool, which is 703-828-4677, which if you put in those numbers, I'm sure spells out something just amazing. I haven't done it yet, but eventually I guess I'm probably going to have to. Now, I would like to say, number one, thank you. Thank you to everyone who downloads and listens, he said, through major audio compression so that I don't blow out everyone's ears, to the mymac.com podcast. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And we say that every week, and there's a reason why we say it every week, because counting all the other nonsense that we talk about, that part is very, very true. And I think that this week, Gaz, especially this week, that we were good enough. And if you count Gaz's snippets, we were smart enough, definitely smart enough. And that doggone it, Wilf, Woof, Woof, Wilf, Woof, Wilf. Where's Wilf, Woof? People like us.
Guy.
Yeah.
When it's hot,
Ooh.
what does garlic do?
Nothing good.
Takes its clothes off.
Oh.
End.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on home and I go home.